Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I'm doing the unreleased major label hair metal album that you need to hear. And the band I'm talking about, Grave Danger. So this is a major label release, hair metal band, hair metal album. It was supposed to come out on MCA, but it was never released. And like I said, the band I'm talking about is Grave Danger. And if you like the type of music that I talk about on my channel, there's a very good chance you would like this album. Now, like I say, it's never been released, and there are only a couple of songs that you can hear on YouTube. But I do have the entire album as an MP3, and I'm going to play just snippets of some of the songs at the end of the show today. But first, I just wanted to talk about this band because it's one of those situations where they could have been a massive band. Unfortunately, they were signed to MCA, and we kind of know MCA maybe not the best label, especially for hard rock, heavy metal bands, also known as the Music Cemetery of America. Look, it's just a bit of a joke, really, but is it? I don't know. I mean, look, it's not the best, is it, when you've recorded an entire album? It's mixed by Michael Wagner, and, it never gets even a chance. It's never given a chance. And having heard the album, I think it's a great album. And if you enjoy the type of music that I talk about on my channel, then there's a good chance if you heard this album, you would also really like it. We talk about a lot on this channel about sort of lesser known hair metal bands that should have been huge or should have had more of a chance, or that you need to check out. Well, this is one you can't even check out because it's not been released. So like I say, MCA never released it. And then surprisingly enough, no other label has picked it up either. So it's still unreleased. Anyway, what's the history of the band? That's what I really want to talk about first of all, because it's quite an interesting story. So the origins of the band kind of start with the band Fierce Heart. So I've got the Fierce Heart album, and I've talked about this album before. So this is a band really formed by Rex Carroll, who goes on, of course, to be in the band Whitecross, probably most well known for being the guitarist in the band Whitecross. Now he has vocalist Larry Elkins for this album, and it's a great hard rock album, came out in 1985. And I think what happened was Larry left the band, and so for the second Fierce Heart album, Rex got in a guy called Bob Reynolds to do vocals. Now, Bob came in and they recorded 3 songs: Getting Lost Inside Your Love, Bad Child, and Power to Rock. So those 3 songs were recorded for the second Fierce Heart album. But what ended up happening, they didn't complete the album, and Rex ends up going to form Whitecross, and Bob is kind of left now without a band. So my understanding is at this point, Bob then forms the band Grave Danger. Now, those 3 songs that Bob did record for the proposed second Fierce Heart album have been issued on the 2016 reissued version of Fierce Heart. So it was remastered and reissued in 2016. You can get those 3 songs on CD. And I will also add, Fierce Heart did put out a second album in 2020 with Bob on vocals. But I'll get to that at the end when I talk about what sort of Bob's up to these days. But so the situation around this time in 1985, after the release of this album, they record some songs for a second Fierce Heart album, decide not to go through with that. Rex goes to Whitecross, and Bob forms the band Grave Danger. Now, I'm not sure how he gets his members of the band or how that actually works, or if even maybe some of these guys were in the Fierce Heart band. I'm not too sure about that. It seems like when this was recorded, it's very much just 2 people in the band, Larry and Rex. But so I don't know, that may have changed for the proposed second album. But anyway, what ends up happening, they form the band Grave Danger. Now, the first sort of recording that's out there for Grave Danger is Kaniak Pure Rock, Son of Pure Rock. Now, this is a great compilation and is actually the second compilation they put out. So there's a one prior to that as well. This one's though really good as well. So it's the son of Pure Rock, and it's a compilation of lesser known bands, maybe unsigned bands, but one of the bands on here is the band Grave Danger and their song Hellraiser, the song that opened up the show today. So this is in 1988, so that's the first recording available from this band, and it's a great song, really awesome song. I'm not sure if there's much difference between the recording that is on Son of Pure Rock and the one that is on the album that was supposed to go on the MCA album. I mean, I've heard both. They sound fairly similar to me, but I think there could be some subtle differences. But it's definitely not the same version, I don't think, because it's a different producer, and this is 1988. But yeah, really great song. And the vocals from Bob, fantastic. I'll go through the lineup. So the lineup for the band is Bob Reynolds on lead vocals, and I'll do my best. If I get the names wrong, I apologize. You got Frank Rodriguez on guitar, Jim White on guitar, Sam Dangerously Heron on bass, and Glenn Dyshich on drums. And it says here it's produced by Grave Danger, engineered by Mark Richardson, and it's recorded at Paragon Studios in Chicago. So probably after that comes out, they sign with MCA. They are also on a show called Mud and Thunder, which was directed by Penelope Spheres, most well known, I guess, at least for people who might be interested in hard rock and heavy metal, for directing the decline of Western civilization movies. So she directed that, and on that show, Thunder and Mud, it's a mix of hard rock, heavy metal bands, and women wrestling. I've seen the show. It came out in 1990, and I'm going to do a separate episode on it because it's memorable. And anyway, so they do appear. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a copy of Mud and Thunder anymore. I did watch the VHS when it came out back in the day, and there's no footage of them playing, unfortunately, online that I could find. There is footage of some of the other bands that played. And like I say, I do want to talk about it perhaps in a future episode. But so they appear on the Mud and Thunder, and they play the song Hellraiser. So this is 1990, and they are also even reviewed in the magazine Metal Forces. So I'm going to read you the review that came out in the February 1990 issue of Metal Forces. I must confess, I learnt very little about Grave Danger before I received this album. All I did learn was from Rex Carroll of Whitecross. Apparently, this was the second lineup of Fierce Heart after the debut LP. Rex quit Fierce Heart to do Whitecross, and the rest of the guys moved to LA and changed their name to Grave Danger and became a big draw and got signed. Grave Danger play metal, there's no doubt about it, but it's not thrash and it's not doom, it's just powerful, but it has class. Hellraiser hits off the LP in blasting style with a riff a la Riot's Hard Lovin' Man. Bob Reynolds has a fine, gruff/gritty vocal style a la Fizz Ron Chenna, and the widdly-diddly potential of Frank Rodriguez and Jim White is astonishing. Michael Wagner's perfect mix goes hand in hand with Chris Skinmeter's production. With a song title like Hellraiser, Grave Danger are in the right direction already. Put Out or Get Out is kind of reminiscent of Autograph and Cry Wolf, a real chanty affair with guitar solos straight out of the Eddie Van Halen guitar school. Running Wild sounds like Fierce Heart and would make a great single. Moving On is a blues workout reflecting Bob Reynolds' capabilities as a vocalist, very reminiscent of Triumph. Fire in the Fields is a faster-paced blues reminding me of Gary Moore. Wasteland is almost the sequel to the title track of the Fierce Heart debut. It's a return to the powerful metal sound with Borrowed Time. Side 2's opener, Run for the Money, is highly commercial and would make a great single. The Border is pure class, nice and melodic and not too Derek Oliver style wimpy. Higher is a cover of an old Chestnut. I'm not sure who did the original, but the last time I heard this was on the debut Randy Hansen album. A good version to boot. A surprising debut. Kelv Hellraiser. All right, so there's the review, a very positive review, 85 out of 100 it scored, and as you could hear from the review, the reviewer Kelv was very positive about it. So, and of course, the song that he's talking about that he says is a cover version is Higher, and it was originally done by Sly and the Family Stone. I think it's a really good album. If you like hair metal, if you like that 80s hard rock that was popular around that time, around that 89, 1990 time, then you would like this album. Quite bluesy at times, but also heavy, and really good stuff. So, bit of a surprise that MCA never ended up actually releasing it. So what's happened since then? Well, like I say, the album's not even been released on another label. Now, the vocalist, though, Bob Reynolds, he, like I said before, ends up doing vocals on the second Fierce Heart album, which, is coming out 35 years after the debut. In 2020, they released the album War for the World, which is a really good album, actually, worth checking out as well. Bob Reynolds is also currently singing for a band called Dogbone, which features a couple of guys from Keel. So he's still fairly active. And the rest of the guys I don't really know too much about. Sadly, Frank Rodriguez passed away about 10 years ago. And the rest of the guys I'm not really too sure. But for me, it's very much a case of what could have been. And I know that, on this channel, I like to talk about sometimes some lesser known bands that you can check out. Sadly, this is not available to check out. There are two of the songs that you can check out on YouTube. The song that I played to open up the show today, Hellraiser, that's also on the compilation, Pure Rock compilation. Hellraiser, you can check that one out. Also on YouTube, you can check out Put Out or Get Out. But I'm going to play a little snippet of that song now, and I'm also going to play snippets from some other songs from the album. I'm not going to play the whole lot, just some parts, maybe 3 or 4 other songs from the album. I'm going to play some snippets of that to finish off the show. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy this type of content, and I'll catch you later. Enjoy the music. See you for now.